So,
Notice us.
so I'm going live now. We
Okay.
okay, we are live.
All right. Welcome to the session 2 of the National Black Feminist Book Group, and we're going to wait a few minutes. We have uh, to see if some more of our members join.
Thank you.
Hi, Randie.
Hi, Venita.
I missed you.
You too. I missed you too, Georgette.
I missed you too. I know we probably all needed that week off.
No, there was just no way. I was so dead. And like, as soon as I walked in the house, I ate something and I got in bed. I was so tired.
Oh my goodness. Are they working so hard at that job?
I didn't fall asleep that night, like Monday night, and it was a lot. I didn't go to sleep that Monday night. I was just beat. I was done. I'm tired. Oh yeah, I was late to work. I was 30 minutes late to like 6:30. I still didn't get to work to 8:40. I was like, oh no.
Oh, the day started off bad. Okay.
Right. For no reason.
Now, Randy, your volume is going in and out. We kind of missing some of what you're saying. If you fade it out on them.
Better?
Uh, Say it again.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. No, and then you fade it out again. I don't know what.
No. My earphone was plugged in.
Okay, now I heard those two sentences all the way through.
Oh. Can you still hear me?
I hear you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe we should go on and start, Georgette, because this is our core group, right?
This is us, the faithful. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Well, welcome everyone to, let's see, this is meeting 7 of the reading of Alice Walker's We Are the Ones We Have Been Waiting For, Inner Light in a Time of Darkness. And tonight we'll be discussing Chapter 11, The Glimpse of Life Beyond the Words on Censorship and Freedom of Speech, and Chapter 12, Sent by Earth, A Message from the Grandmother Spirit. And let's see, well, let's start by all of our members introducing themselves. Venita, you want to go first?
Yes, my name is Venita Walker. I am joining you from Connecticut. I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy you're here.
We're happy you're here too. And Randie?
Hi, my name is Randie. I am watching from Atlanta, and I'm excited to see everyone again. And I miss you all.
Okay, we missed you too. And Michelle, our co-host.
Hi, this is Michelle Odom. I am here in Manhattan. Not feeling so well tonight, so I'm going to mostly be the cameraman, but I'm happy to be here. And I missed you guys last week, too.
All right. Well, okay, I guess we need to select a timekeeper.
Did we hear your introduction?
Oh, okay. Nope. See, I'm slipping up already. And I'm Georgette Moses. I'm from in Columbia, South Carolina, and I'll be your moderator tonight. Okay. So, do I have a volunteer for a timekeeper?
Of course,
No, maybe, maybe, maybe since I'm not going to talk so much, I can do that too.
You want to do that? Okay.
Well, thank you, Michelle.
Excellent. Okay, and I see Joel has joined us.
Oh, hi, Joel.
Yep. How's everybody? Hey.
Hello.
I made it.
And we're glad.
Yes.
Can you just go ahead and we were just introducing ourselves.
Oh, okay.
So,
Joel Jones out of Charleston, South Carolina. I'm the only straggler in here. I mean, man here. So.
Oh my goodness.
Don't even say that. Yeah, Joel, we love you.
Yes, we do.
Love you too. I just wait my turn. Just call me when you want me.
Okay.
I want to make sure. I'll still be part of the group.
We won't throw you out. No, all are welcome. We're one big happy family here.
Yeah.
Wow, Joel doesn't sound convinced. So we're proud of you. We love you. There are few men that would dare to come into this frontier.
Yeah.
And so you the man.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Okay. I'd like to remind everyone to be sensitive to sounds in the background. And when you get ready to speak, please unmute your mic. And as a reminder, if you don't want to be tagged in any of the videos that Michelle produces for us about our meetings, please just shoot her an email and let her know. And has anybody had a chance to share some of the videos?
No, but I will.
Okay, Michelle raised a hand. Yay! That's okay.
I did too.
Oh, all right.
I'm about to.
Okay. That's good. That's good too. We'll accept that. Excellent. Okay. Well, it's 6:38. I guess we can just move along into discussing these chapters here. We'll start with chapter 11, The Glimpse of Life Beyond the Words on Censorship and Freedom of Spirit. Can I get someone to read the summary?
Sure.
Oh, thank you, Venita.
I'm just doing it before Randie calls me out, that's all.
Right.
I got volunteer. I started looking at the place.
All right.
All right. Chapter 11, The Glimpse of Life Beyond Words on Censorship and Freedom of Spirit. Summary. Alice Walker has the honor of being one of the most censored writers in American literature, which makes her feel both delighted and amazed. She is in good company with other artists and wordsmiths who are victims of the politics of the moment. She has come to realize that what those band-happy censors really fear is the glimpse of life beyond words, reflections on issues of humanity, pain, spirituality, war, politics, sexuality, violence, poverty, guilt, so on and so forth. Walker's definition of the First Amendment: learn to sit with one another's truth. The beating of your heart shall not harm no one.
All right. Thank you, Venita. And section A, censorship hurts. And then the first question, Randie, would you read that for me, please?
Mm-hmm. Censorship hurts. Although Alice Walker embraces her writer's duty to question all establishment gods, she doesn't intentionally seek to cause her readers distress. She is exercising her freedom to speak and write about life as she knows or imagines it to be. Much of it is controversial. She continues to be criticized and attacked for holding a mirror up to her fellow human beings. The Color Purple, her novel about domestic violence and child abuse, was unfortunately considered another tool to be used against black people, especially men. The black community attempted to kill the messenger. They refused to acknowledge this generational problem or explore solutions. The result was widespread and inexplicable misogyny against black women from the streets of Compton to the halls of the Academy Awards. The devaluation of the feminine in our communities has come at a price, an unimaginable increase in violence, a violence that endangers and touches everyone. Question 1. Have you read The Color Purple or seen the movie? If so, how did it affect you? What were some of the responses you heard from family, friends, or coworkers after seeing the movie? Or if you chose not to see the movie, please share why.
Thank you. Would someone
Can
like?
anybody answer that question? I'll answer it.
Okay, go ahead.
I watched the movie before I read the book because I didn't realize it was a book yet. I was young when the book was out, younger. And so when I realized that it was a book, I read the book as well and loved it. I was very happy that she wrote it. There are not a lot of many authors who will, except maybe Toni Morrison, some other authors who will touch on, like I talk about a lot of times, sexual assault, incest, child abuse, domestic violence. And I really like that she put it at the forefront and the coming out of it as well. And she made it important. She didn't claim it was a distraction. She wasn't trying to put it on the back burner and have us come back to it. She really put it out there, and I really appreciated that she had the courage to do so when a lot of people won't. So.
That's right. Thank you. Venita?
Yeah, the movie came out, what was it, 20 years ago now?
It's been a while, yes.
It's been quite a while. I read the book and I saw the movie. I remember a lot of reactions, not just from black folks, but from white folks too. Most of my reaction from white folks were, "Oh my God." Most of my reaction from black folks were, "Oh my God." And that amazes me. It really does. I really have to give her a hand for having the courage to put the facts in front, because as I've experienced in my life, it's always been there. But I can speak for my family and the people that I've been around that are black folks. Everything is always a secret. It's all about perception. As long as they don't see it, they don't know it. So it's good. It was a shock factor for a lot of folks. A lot of black folks actually turned away from it that I also know of. It's almost like a refusing to believe that this happens or this is what we do. And others also, I think, felt like, oh my goodness, now all our business is in the street. So it was very good. It was an excellent movie, and the book was super good. Of course, you never get in the movies what you get out of a book, but yeah, but it was very good. But the reactions were very mixed among my own people. Some embraced it, and some just didn't want to know anything about it. Believe it or not.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it. I had the second part of this question here, especially for Joel, and he has left. He's not right there. He's not in his seat at this moment.
Georgette,
Yeah.
let me just, hold on. I'm playing with this.
Okay.
Let me just add, Venita, I want you to talk about um, that tool that I posted um, to prevent the rapes that were going on. I think was it South Africa?
Yes.
Um, I want you to talk more about that, but I just want to say anytime um, a black woman tries to defend herself or speak honestly about the things that we go through, it's a problem. Um, so maybe Venita, you could pick up on that.
Yeah. It was, I think it was yesterday, on Facebook, on Michelle's page. There was an image of a device that was actually invented by a woman, because she had overheard a woman that had been molested, raped, I should say. At one point, one of the words, "I wish her vagina had teeth." So she invented a contraption that almost is in the shape of a penis, and you insert it into your vagina. So when the rapist attempts to rape you, I gotta hold myself, girl, because I thought it was brilliant. Although there was a person that actually begged to differ. I
Oh
mean,
man.
I don't want to go there. Well, he did. So I had to pull up on him, and I did. So, oh, someone's there. So,
Hi. Hold on, Kevin. Hello. This is Michelle. I can't really talk much tonight, but welcome. Can you hear us, Kevin?
Yes.
Okay, why don't you introduce yourself? Welcome. Georgette, maybe.
Oh, Kevin, you're kind of freezing up on us. We didn't. Did you say? Did you introduce yourself, Kevin?
No. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, how everybody doing?
We're doing fine. And where are you located at?
Yes, I'm here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Okay.
Yes, I'm Kevin Dorival. Hi, everybody.
hi, how are you?
Hello, hello.
Welcome.
Greetings, greetings. Sorry to interrupt you guys. It's kind of late. I'm actually still at work. I just wanted to make sure I tuned in to hear what you guys are saying and what you're about. But I see you all have an intellectual conversation going on about the color purple, right?
So
Yeah,
far, yes. That's our first question.
Yes, yes. Well, I seen the movie. I didn't read the book, but I will put that on my list.
definitely, definitely. I'm Michelle Odom. I'm the one you've been kind of corresponding with. I,
Okay.
I don't really have my voice tonight, so I can't talk much. But I just want to say welcome. I'm glad to meet you.
All right. Welcome as well, and glad to meet you and everyone else, part of the National Black Feminist Group. Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Benita, you want to finish your point?
Sure. Where was I?
You were talking about that device.
Yes, a device that she invented, that's inserted into the woman's vagina, and actually, when
It's
a
hot in here.
perpetrator attempts to rape her, uh,
I
it
feel like a sauna.
it clamps down on his penis, which I thought was brilliant. However, there was a gentleman on Facebook that begged to differ. He said that, he corrected me and said, Venita, he felt as though this could cause more harm than deter the rapist. You know. And my thoughts on that, and well, first of all, initially, my thought was, they're always casualty of war, and this is a war on rape. He felt as though some innocent man may be a victim of this device. Once again, there's always casualty of war. So I went on to tell him that, be that the case. I mean, he may be correct or he may not, or it may
Okay.
work, it may not work. But the
And
fact
I guess the
Um,
Prestige can wait.
Kevin,
Yeah, I can wait.
Kevin,
The next client tomorrow. So which one should I work on tomorrow?
Kevin.
So I'm trying to do 2 a day as far as like analyzing everything.
Venita, you can talk louder than me. Explain to Kevin how to mute his screen.
Kevin,
We've been, focusing on. We'll have the
Kevin.
dentist. We can start going through the dentist
Dentist
site on the
stuff.
testing server.
Kevin.
I just want to make sure everything's set up correctly, and then
Hi, Kevin.
really comb through it.
Okay.
Kevin.
Kevin?
I don't have the login for that one.
Okay.
All right.
I guess he can't hear us.
Go over tomorrow.
I guess not.
He has another site. Like Delray,
Okay.
Delray Dentist or something like that.
Yeah.
Do like you always do. Cut him off.
Oh, he muted. Okay, we're good.
I muted him. You can press
Oh,
on
you
the
did?
arrow and mute him.
Oh,
Oh.
cool. Thank
It like
you.
press on his face, and then, because I know I'm like, there has to be a way.
Yeah.
Perseverance. All right, I love it.
Y'all, do you think we need to, Joe, did I say that right?
Huh?
I never actually had to say your
What?
name. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I'm just trying not to get cut off.
What?
I'm trying not to get cut off.
Is somebody talking and say something? Cause he been real sad the past 2 meetings.
You're right. Georgette.
I don't know. Well, okay, let's move along here. We're on question 1, and Joelle, I know you didn't watch The Color Purple. Could you give your opinion as to why?
I didn't watch The Color Purple?
I don't think you did. Did you say you didn't, or you didn't like it, or what?
I didn't
I
like
don't want
it.
to put words in your mouth. Go ahead and.
Oh, you're saying that I don't like it? Hey, what's going to have you?
Why you're putting it on me?
Yeah, okay. Co-workers and saying that movie good taste. Well, the movie's all right. It had its parts, you know. It had different learning periods, and I mean, within it, it had a lot of relevancy. It's a great movie, You're not gonna get me on national television and say I didn't like Oprah.
Okay. All right. It's not brave enough tonight. Okay. Well, then let's move on to let's see. Question 2. Do you agree that holding a
I like the part when he said you need to go and get you another woman. Get off and get these chickens out of this damn house. That's the part I like.
oh, well, okay.
Oh.
All right. Thank you. All right. Question 2. Do you agree that holding a mirror up to our communities, ethnic, religious, or national, often results in an equal and opposite effect? Why or why not? And so I'm going to go ahead and say yes, piggybacking off of what Venita mentioned about the reaction she received and she observed from both the communities of color and white communities. We really don't like to see negativity put in our faces. I think it makes us feel not only guilty, whether or not we've been involved in the activity, but just because maybe we haven't addressed it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
What does someone else think about that?
I believe, during the time that I grew up, most of us were raised Christians. We went to a Methodist or Baptist AME church. We were told the truth would set us free. Um, so I don't understand in my time why all these things were so hidden and everything was brushed under the rug with young girls within families being molested and raped and incest, and I don't understand it. I still don't understand the psychology behind um, not living in the truth.
Yes.
You know, I mean, the truth is never pretty. You know, most times it's not pretty anyway. I mean, slavery was true, but it wasn't pretty. You know, you can't deny it. It happened. But I don't know. I don't know the psychology. I guess I'm not trained in that field to be able to look in these folks' minds and wonder what the problem is when we were raised as Christians. Most of the black folks I knew in my neighborhood were, but for some ungodly reason, we were the biggest liars I've ever seen in my entire life. We lived a lie that was incredible. Where I came from, you understand? Just looking from the outside in, nothing was real. You know, it just wasn't real. But again, that's the truth too. So I don't know how well that's going to go over. You know.
Well, hey, what do they say? Truth will set you free.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
if I may go ahead.
Go ahead, Joel.
Um, well, it was true back then, and it's still true now in a lot of parts of our culture, not just a black African American culture, but everywhere. You see it in the churches all the time, especially in the black church. We don't want to say anything about the deacon or the pastor or anybody else. I think people kind of still have that attitude when it comes to dirt, especially, if it involves the family. Even the court system don't even want to hardly get involved in it. It's like, oh, well, let them work it out. You know what I mean? I think they're coming a little bit more sensitive to it, maybe a little bit now, but, I think it's one of those things that people really like families to be normally dysfunctional.
I just think that's so ironic because usually people who act like this are Christians from my observation in this country in my family. But Jesus was he wasn't passive. He wasn't passive aggressive. He wanted to talk about everything. He sat down with the whores and the tax people, and he got dirty, which is part of the reason he was a problem, because he called people out, he made people speak, and he required accountability. So I think it's so ironic that these same Christians who claim to follow Jesus and love him and love what he stands for demand silence and are bent on perception when he wasn't. And people tend to pick and choose what they want from the Bible and forget that part or leave that part out. And that's obviously not conducive to anybody's health or mentality or spirituality, which is why a lot of people don't get saved if they believe, in Christianity. Because nobody who's Christian wants to talk about anything. They don't want to talk about the addictions or the rapes or the domestic violence or the internalized racism or the
Or
racism.
fornication, yeah.
They don't want to talk about anything. So I just,
Yeah,
I,
that's true. They want to talk about that
I,
money, though.
I just, I think when I hear that question, especially the word mirror, um, I think it makes me think about what we really don't want to do is talk about changing our own behavior. Um, what we really don't want to talk about is the ways that we benefit or um, get off on things that we know are wrong. And so, it's one thing when you're looking at somebody else to judge them and, um, you know, be very critical of their behavior, but it takes a real level of integrity and strength of character to be able to look in the mirror and look at the ways that you yourself are perpetuating different problems. So I'm gonna stop.
Mm.
Okay.
Oh,
Now,
you had 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go.
Oh, it's full of laughs tonight. I like that, Joe. Yeah.
that was a very powerful statement. And Randy's also, we have to be about being accountable. You know,
But how can we be accountable if we don't embrace the errors of our own ways, as Michelle was saying, which is what I was trying to say in essence.
yes.
Just do as I don't do as I do. That type of attitude. And that's what I heard growing up. As a matter of fact, just recently, I heard a lot of things when I made a trip to Philadelphia to visit my cousins that I never even knew. This is how deep and dark and long dirt is held. And it wasn't pretty at all. It actually wasn't pretty. As a matter of fact, I was actually angry that I'm 50-something years old and I didn't know that. I didn't know
Yeah.
that. So no, I find folks never want to. At least my experience with black folks in my family, the correcting the errors in their own ways is something I heard of. Jesus will take care of that. Okay.
True. Yeah, you're right. In small communities at large, we've often heard people say they bring home a young man or a young lady, and they say, "Oh, who your people?" Because you don't know that could be your relative.
Ooh,
Happened a
stop.
couple of times. Happened a couple of times in my lifetime.
Oh, Joel, full
Who your
wisdom,
people?
baby.
You look like so and so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh,
I'm like,
Lord.
Grandma, when you start telling what Granddaddy did, maybe we'll know.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to question 3.
Okay.
Alice Walker's Possessing the Secret of Joy, a novel about traditions of female genital mutilation, inspired a depressing response from an African man. He told her that in his tribe, to tell the truth hurts the people. Is he correct?
I think that doing things that hurt the people.
Yeah.
So I think that quote is very telling of humanity and how we treat each other. I think that's crazy. To tell us the truth about it hurts people instead of the actual hurting part. I think
Hmm.
Well, I think, in my opinion, I think when people talk like that, you have politicians, you may have spouses that keep information from people. It just gives them, it just basically gives them a reason or uh, uh, to abuse, to take people rights, you know what I mean, to oppress people. Well, we don't want them to have that choice. We don't want them to have that right. Why should they have this? Or you don't need that. And it's just to take away civil liberties and personal freedoms within your own house or in society.
I agree. Absolutely.
Hmm.
Michelle or Venita, you have something to add to that? You want to say something?
No, I mean I agree with Randy and Joel. Um, it's putting the focus on the wrong thing. Um, but it's done because people have an agenda, you know. So, um, I mean, literally, yeah, the truth does often hurt because the behavior that it's describing um, is hurtful. And, um, but it's kind of like the condom that Venita and I were talking about earlier. Um, the thing is, if somebody rapes you, um, their penis gets impaled on this 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 contraption, and
Oh God.
yeah, exactly, it's painful, you know. But but the truth of the matter is, if you don't rape anybody, you don't have to worry
That's what I'm talking about.
about getting impaled.
That's what I'm talking
Um, you know, but we don't want to. Um, we don't want to lose whatever privileges or benefits that we have when we are in a superior position. And so um, for as long as human beings have been around, I guess, men have been in a superior position physically to women, which has given them the ability to rape, to to just take whatever they wanted. But at some point, we have to learn that might doesn't make right, and but we have throughout our culture um, this belief, this entrenched belief that if you're bigger, that if you're stronger, that if you are superior in some way, it gives you a natural right to abuse those that you think are weaker. Um, and so when we tell the truth is usually someone who is in a weaker position saying, I'm not really happy with the way things are going. I'm going to need you to stop this. And so we don't want to hear it. We don't want to hear it because we don't want to lose whatever benefit we have. I'm over time by 20 seconds, Joel, so I'm going to stop.
Oh, I thought that was Randy's job.
No, Michelle is our timekeeper tonight.
Oh,
But
okay. Is that like putting the fox in the hen house?
And you can talk outside the exit, or you can talk real low.
all right, thank you, Michelle. All right, can I get someone to read B, Sitting with One Another's Truths?
Oh, okay.
And-
I'll read it.
Okay, thank you, Randy.
To deal with her pain of being driven from the black community, Alice Walker tries to see and understand the fear that has caused such a negative reaction to her gift. Through her eyes, she can see their insecurity as creators, the doubt about their sexual attractiveness, the lack of trust in her true intentions, and fear of not being appreciated as diverse and complex human beings. Her truth about God, sexuality, and nature really had them shook up.
And then can you read question 4?
Mhm. Practicing this mindful empathy allowed Alice Walker to see the suffering of those who had attacked her. She was able to change her feelings of disgust, anger, and mystification to compassion. Have you ever been in a situation that required doing the exact opposite of what you felt, to make peace with yourself and those who had wronged you.
Oh, yeah.
Joel, you sound like you want to answer that question.
Oh, well, hey, when you're a black man in America, you can just pick a day, throw a dart, and be happy that way, okay? But it kind of reminded me back in 1989 when I was a young NCO at McCord Air Force Base, and I worked in airports in the passenger terminal. And I was doing my regular job, checking in passengers, and this Caucasian lady, she walked up, and, her credentials wasn't right. She really had no business on base, but nobody caught it, and I was a student up to catch it. And I confronted her, and I told her that she wasn't authorized to get on the plane, and that was it. And she was supposed to be a retired reservist, and she started cursing me out, and she let it rip the big N word. So I took a step back, went and got J.D. Cole, brother, NCO, my boss, and told him what happened. And he came out. He told the lady, to stand over there in the corner. And all of a sudden, about 5 minutes, I went up to the wing commander, and never seen the colonel before. He walked in there, had security police, and they took whatever credentials she didn't supposed to have, and they drug her off base and sent out a message saying that she can't get on any base. So that was one of those times I stood back and used my professionalism and didn't get down in the trench with her because I could have gotten in just much trouble. But it took a lot at that time. I was a very young person. I still had those Black Panther ways, and I was able to conform to the ways of the military. Chilled.
All right. Thank you.
I'll go next. Oh Jesus.
Is it that bad, Randy? What happened?
It's just so many. Doing the exact opposite of what I felt. Okay, I'll do this one. So my dad, as I've mentioned before, bless his heart, is a functional alcoholic, or at least he would like to think he is one. And there was one moment a few Thanksgivings ago, as I told y'all, he goes through the 5 stages of grief when he drinks. And while I am grown now and I have a car, I can leave a place if he's in it and I no longer want to be in that space because he's where he is. At this time, I did not have a car, and he had gotten really drunk, and he was ranting and raving and in the anger stage of the grief part. And he was just doing the most, and I had just come home from freshman year of college, Thanksgiving break. It's having a lot of racist experiences, and he just insisted on keep calling me the N-word. And I was like, you really got to cut it out. And I'm at my grandparents' house, his parents' house. He's like, I'll call you what I want to call you. He was in that whole, the anger stage part. And he looked like he was about to hit me. And I knew from that moment that if I engaged in this what he was trying to engage with me in, somebody was going to walk out the house alive. And so instead, I called my grandfather. He called my dad he ended up like having my dad come to him or whatever, and I called Mikey, who some of you all have met, and he picked me and my sister and my brother up. My sister was very mad at me because it was Thanksgiving. She wanted to see his aunt. We haven't seen her in a long time, and I couldn't wrap my head around how she ended up being mad at me in a situation when it was really bad. And instead of going off on her and losing it, we all have daddy issues out of the family. Some of us have handled them and acknowledged them more than others. and she has not. And so instead of like being mean to her and, you know, telling her off like I really wanted to because I was so angry, I let her know you can get in the car. I'm not going to make you come with us, or you can stay here in this environment. And, you know, you can love him from a distance if you choose to, or love him in his house while he's the way he is right now. And of course, she ended up getting in the car, but it was really one of those moments where, you know, you can grow up in the house with somebody and turn out completely different. And it really was eye-opener for me about what she still could be dealing with concerning this man of ours. So, yeah.
Well, alcohol has different ways of, you know, sharing victims. You know what I mean? It really does. And your sister is probably in one of those situations like, well, you know how he is. You know,
Yeah.
why don't you just deal with it? That's just daddy. You know what I mean?
So that is, and she knows this, and we talked about it, whatever, but that is where she is, and I'm more like, that's fine, but we don't
I'm
have to
tired of
stay. You know? So that was
because
one
you
of those.
stand there is knowing nothing but condoling his ways. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
We did end up going back over there, but this time with my mom, so my sister could still see that aunt. She was still excited about seeing her. It still worked out, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Randy, for using that example. Um, I've had alcoholics all around me too, um, but I can't say that in terms of the question, that I have ever come to really sit with them and understand um, their point of view. Um, and I just don't know if I have it in me. So I'm going to stop.
Okay. That's all right. Thank you. Venita?
I know where Randy is. It's been so many times. That it's too numerous to count. Where I have to stand back, you know, and get my feng shui and look at what I'm dealing with and recognizing it's not much and just fall back. Because if I reacted to some of the crazy the folks have come out with, I don't be sitting here this evening. You know, it's just too much crazy. If it's not from family members, it's from laymen. It's from somebody in Stop and Shop. And, you know, and I have had some pretty devastating things happen to me, actually. I think a couple of them stands out more than anything else. I'll make this very quick. I don't know if I told you once. I was waiting for my son Clint when he was in middle school. And there was a group of women that were standing there. They happened to be Caucasian women. The school at that point was 98.28%. And I was asking them, I said, do you ever go to the opera or the symphony or any other entertainment in Hartford? So one of them looked at me with a swoop to the side, asymmetrical haircut, and the red lipstick, and says, well, I don't go into Hartford because of all the crime, all the prostitution, all the drugs, all the this, and she went on and on. And then looked at me and says, and I'm sure you can relate. Well, you know, I had to come back. If she'd have caught me 20 years earlier, I'd be at Cheshire Correctional or one of the women's facilities, serving a whole lot of time. However, since I've grown over the years, I was able to handle it a little differently, which is in the truth. So I looked at her and I said, you know, first of all, I can't relate, but contrary to popular belief, you know, when we eat spaghetti, we don't manufacture crack cocaine in our basement. We speak in plain English, and yeah, we can read. I went on to let her know that if her husbands and her sons and her brothers and her neighbors would stop patronizing the prostitution in the city and then coming back to their wonderful suburban homes, if her brothers and fathers and sons would stop going to the city and buying the drugs that you put in the city and then coming back to your wonderful homes, then I guarantee that 98% of the drug and prostitution problem will be eradicated.
All right.
So meanwhile, I did remind her that it was her lucky day, that she was lucky enough, her and a little girlfriend out there, to have run into a sane black woman. But if I had been that black woman that she thought I was, life would have been different for the three of them.
Excuse me, you have 30 seconds.
I'm done.
All right.
But that's an example of the things that you deal with and how you have to deal with them. You know, I mean, you face ignorance all the time. You can't react to it all the time. You'll go crazy.
You're exactly right. I think what I heard from everybody's story, more or less, was you all took the time to assess the situation and say, hey, wait a minute. I need to do something positive and stop whatever this is right now in its tracks.
Not worth it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. Question number 5 is, are the fears and doubts Alice Walker uncovers still plaguing the Black community today? Why or why not? Oh, Randie, we lost your picture.
I'm sure she'll be back in a minute.
Yeah. Okay. Would Joel or Venita, would you like to answer question 5?
Take it from the top, Joel.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's still here, and it's more in our face than it's ever been. You know, it's always been there, and with Twitter and Instagram and and Facebook, you can see more dysfunction than the law allow. You know, nothing's changed.
That's true. Randie or Venita?
Yes. Um, I still think so. I think the perception thing is still very big. Now it's taken form to me, this colorless mentality. So I think people they're trying to find like a resolution to these fears. So I think everybody's like thinking, if I just don't act black, think I'm black, then everything will be okay. You know, like I'm gonna be okay. And I just, oh God, I think that's crazy. I know I've been saying that a lot, but I'm just. Y'all heard about the Raven Simone thing? I know y'all have.
Excuse
right?
me?
The Raven Simone.
Yeah, she's not black.
What? No, I didn't hear that. When did that happen? She said she's not black.
She said I am not gay. And okay, I will give her, I know that sexuality is fluid. However, right now her partner is a woman. So like by definition, that is lesbian. But I don't know how that works with the community, so I'm not gonna say anything on that. However, she did state that she is not African American. She is American. She doesn't like people to label her. My problem is American is still a label if she thinks of it like that. Like if we're just talking about names. But her idea of being a label is a black part. So and she's colorless. And so Oprah tried to save her. Oprah tried to let her know you about to get in trouble. Do you want to clarify this for me? She said that. She's like, would you like to speak more on this? And she was like, I'm not sure which country I'm from, and that's fair. A lot of us don't know, but I know my family's from Louisiana. So colorless. I just
Well,
Yes, I think that's where the black between Pharrell, her, and these fools surrounding them whose tax brackets have become too high and they've forgotten. I think that's where the black community is right now. That's the new defense mechanism. I'm not black, so don't shoot.
well,
Mm-hmm.
it's
I
I
agree with
got
that.
well, Randy, it's always been that way. You always have those few, but you know, our society has a way of letting them people have an aha moment. Okay.
Mm.
Oh, they're gonna let them know what they are. Trust me. He's gonna get that aha moment, and that in myself,
Mm-hmm.
in my belief, that's nothing but self-hate. You
It
understand what I'm
is. I
saying?
agree 100%.
That's just
100%.
self. That's just self-hate. Um, poor child. She's in for you know. She's not. She's basically not a happy person. If you don't
Yeah.
love who you are and get people to embrace your blackness or whoever you are, you're not a happy person. I don't care, what profession you're in. You're just not a happy person. And what does that say about, the person or people of color that's in her family? You know, what does that say? And these people walk around talking about I don't, because everybody else is seeing color. you know, I don't see color. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
It's stupid, but
May I say something?
Go ahead.
Why? And Brandon is 100% correct. That is the new thing. I've heard it from many folks. I'm tired of carrying around the weight of being black on my shoulder. What if I told you to do that from the beginning? I don't understand. First of all, you need to know what the definition of being black means. That's the problem. Because they're not aware of what it actually means. It's just not the color of your skin. Then on top of that, the new thing I hear, as Randy said, and I hear it a lot. Well, I'm colorless. Well, I think it's an insult to me. Don't tell me I'm colorless. That's like saying I'm invisible.
you don't exist, right?
And
Mm-hmm.
what really bothers me is that why is it us? I haven't heard my Polish friends say that, my Asian friends say that, my Indian friends say that. I haven't heard it, and I have friends from all walks of life. I've never heard anybody try to deny who they are or say that they're colorless. And Latinos, and I have Latino friends that look Caucasian, and some of them that look more African, like they look more African, because of course you got the Spanish. Why is it that black Americans, and let's just say mostly black Americans, really do believe in the bottoms of their hearts, in the back of their brains, that if I am colorless and formless, if I emulate white society more, then it will all get better? I don't understand that. And I see it, and I would
I
say,
got one word for you, Benita.
we're giving up.
I would say
I thought it was your one word.
You disappeared on us there.
no, no. The one word I have to say, comfortable. They feel comfortable.
I think
You
it's
can't.
respectability politics. I think it's respectability politics, and I think, like I read this article a few months ago. They said Martin Luther King died in a suit. Like respectability politics, this colorless shit, sorry, is
Oh,
not gonna save your life. It is not gonna save your life. And I think they have really, black people, our people have really started to believe that if I act like I don't see that I'm black, I will live. And I think that is so crazy.
I will get their job. I will be more prosperous. I will climb Mount Everett. I will part the Red Sea. What planet are they from?
I don't know,
I
but then
don't understand it.
Well,
No.
I used to have a thing that when I was in the military, I asked the troops, I tell the troops, and I believe this myself. I say, you don't have to transform, just conform. You know what I mean? When you conform, you're just conforming to your environment and adapting to the environment around you. That don't mean you have to transform yourself and who you are. You know, it's trying to get the job done as our ancestors done many, many years ago to survive.
I mean, I'm just amazed how the have how the elites, as I was discussing today in another one of Michelle's posts, have finally gotten us to actually believe that. It's just insane. I don't understand that.
But
And
go ahead.
I'm done.
But someone had to remind me a while ago that there's a percentage of African Americans that I call them, you got blue bloods, I call them black bloods, that have always been a freed African. They don't identify in the social economic class or anything else with the rest of the African Americans. They have never been slaves. They have always been educated, and they don't believe that. You know what I mean? Some of them just don't believe that there is a cause. They don't believe in blackness. They're part of the so-called elitist and ruling class, and they are there.
Once again, they need to know what the definition of blackness is first. As Alice Walker put it so eloquently, blackness is about caring about the
Oh, they
people
don't care.
around you, caring about the earth, caring about what you do and how it affects the other man. That's what blackness is. Blackness is not the color of your skin. Because if that be the case, I'd be sitting here saying I'm black, Italian, Jewish, Indian, all that stuff, Cherokee, you name it.
All right.
So if we go back to Alice Walker's statement and what she's trying to convey information to us, that you have to know what the definition of black is first. And black folks, unfortunately, don't have a clue, a lot of them. And that's why they choose to be colorless and formless and all the other happy crap.
You're an eater. They believe that you're an eater. That's all. You're an eater. That's it.
Once again, you have to know the definition. It's in here. It's innate. It's way down in here. Has nothing to do with this. And I like being black. It's fabulous. Love it. I feel sorry for folks that aren't black. I look at them all the time and say, too bad you're not black like me. This is great.
All right. All right, Venita.
Just letting you know that I'm feeling good about it, and folks should feel good about it.
You're absolutely right. I think that's part of the problem with a lot of everybody, whatever ethnicity you are, if you loved who you were in an honest way, an honest fashion, then you could love everybody else for who and what they are too.
That's
Just
right.
let people be. Just let All right, that was a very spirited discussion. Now we're going to move on to question number 6. Millions of people around the world hate Americans. Moving towards a peaceful existence requires us to sit with their anger until we can see America through their eyes. What would you see, and what would you do about it?
I haven't really traveled anywhere else but West Africa.
What? Say it again, Randie. You faded out on us.
Oh, I said I haven't really traveled anywhere else but West Africa, but a lot of the Ghanaians and Togo and Benin, that's other places I visit, they didn't really seem to hate Americans, but the ones who did, I don't know if I can really speak on this because I didn't really what's the word? What's what I'm looking for? I didn't really experience a lot of that hate because I was black, and so they assumed that I was going through the same thing. But when I did sit in their anger, like listen to them vent, I think the first thing you can do about it is when you approach that type of anger is let them be angry. That's one. I think you should let people be angry when they're angry. Not necessarily react to it. Like, don't, that's not always healthy, but let them be angry first, because a lot of reasons people are angry is because nobody allows them to be. So a lot of anger is like, it's just sadness, pent up sadness. And so what do you do about it? I don't know, you listen, then you go and tell somebody that can help. Not like help, like let me call your mom and so you can tell her, but really make changes. And right now I think that's voting. So I don't know how like people who aren't Americans can really do that, but I mean in general. the
Okay.
things that affect change. I don't know.
Um, yeah, voting and community organizing. Um, what I think uh, people see very often in America is just a big bully. Um, so as Americans, um, if we don't support the bullyish behavior, um, then then our option is community organizing and advocacy and voting.
Well, I have been to many a countries, and what I found out, I used to always try to, you know, understand the people in their communities and deal with the overall population, whatever country I would be at, whether it be Egypt, Israel, Germany, or whatever, and uh, and try to see what they see. And I would go to wherever they're at, the club, shopping, or whatever. And it was always helpful not to travel with Caucasians because what they really saw about me as a African American, they always looked at us as being oppressed, even though we was in the military. They always like feel sorry for you. They have no ill feelings towards us. Funny, a lot of times the white guys couldn't go where we went because they were white. They hated them, And but it's a lot of times, you as the person when they see you and they get a chance to engage with you as a person, even if they were Caucasian. If you respect that their customs and you try to speak their language and you would respect the boundaries, if they see you as genuinely curious and whatnot, they judge you as a person, not as a country. And that's a time that we could be great ambassadors for our country like that. But how they see us, and they would, quite frankly, they would tell us, it's a lot of great things. We like these things. We like these things. But you know what? We like our God. We like our customs. And they would tell us that. But we love your music. We love your TV. Certain things we like. We like our four wives. We wonder why you got one. But and that's how they were. They loved their culture, and they wanted us to respect their culture. They couldn't understand why we didn't respect theirs and they respected ours. It gets down to respect. And the people at the bottom, like you and me, they are simple. They want the same things across the world that we want. They want the best for their family. The politicians are the ones, and the people in the power, they're the ones that's fighting. These people, they just want to live. That has been my experience in 30 countries I've been in.
Hmm.
Yes. Thank you. Venita, you want to add something to that?
No, uh, I think Joel and Randy said it all.
That's not right, Venita. You should say something.
Now, see, Joel, you're trying to get on Randy bandwagon, calling me out now. Okay,
Oh,
no, you're correct, Joel. I agree with everything you said. That
Okay.
everyone just wants to be loved and respected. In
Yeah.
our country, that doesn't happen. We think we can just go and change the way people think and change their cultures, their religion. Uh, uh, as also Alice mentioned, and I don't hope I'm not jumping the chapters. I won't go there. I think it's in the next chapter, so we'll leave
well,
it.
if it's relevant, you can go ahead and
Well,
throw it in there, Venita.
look at the American Indians. you know,
Oh boy. Yeah.
and how they were just forced to be in boarding schools, take from their parents and their tribes and their people, and raped and molested and beat because if they use anything other than English to make them think and walk and talk like the white man. So, you know, it's just, that was the saddest thing. That's just sad. It seems like everybody's had their turn, not just black folks. Everybody's had their turn other than the white Anglo-Saxons. I mean, I don't understand that. And it's just, and the thing about the things that are done to people, and other countries see that. That's why they have a problem with us, because we're constantly trying to blank out people, their existence. Either you be what I want you to be, or you will not be at all. That's our motto, or the motto of this country.
You're for us or you're against us.
Hmm?
We didn't quite hear that, Joel. What did you say?
Either you're for us or you're against us.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
You get that?
Yeah, we
I know
got it.
Randy got it.
Well, I think everything you guys had to say was right on the mark. You have to, like Randy said, have a degree of emotional intelligence. And like Joel said, respect and educate yourself about other people's cultures. Whether they're inside of, these borders or someplace else. And, like what Venita brought up, the history of what westernized people have done to other civilizations, other groups of people, you need to understand, not just what's been presented to you in one particular book or one show or one news program, but just go find out, reveal, dig and find history, okay? These people are on this reservation just because they lost out, Custer beat them down or whatever. No, it was a systematic removal of their resources and culture from them, a destruction of their lives. Same thing happened to people everywhere. Wherever there is something that someone else with greater power wanted,
Mm-hmm.
that nicer community lost out. So it's really, really unfortunate, and I think that's part of the truths, just America as a whole, they don't want to face, and religions don't want to face. If you want to hold that mirror up to, Christians or Catholics, what did you do during the Crusades that caused a lot of people to lose their lives and property, just to convert over to your religion? Was it because you wanted them to believe in this God, or you just wanted everything they had there because they had gold and shiny jewels? So, it's we are really kind of messed up folks all over. So,
Well, you said you said everything I would have said if I could speak more, Georgette. Thank you.
okay.
Did
Thanks,
somebody
yeah.
say somebody say something? Oh, that was Michelle. My bad. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, our country, Georgette, it's
Hmm.
only in the United States that I find that we are the biggest culprit. I mean, look at the immigrants that came over on Ellis Island. They had names that had, 10 consonants and 3 vowels. They had to drop them off. I know folks like that. Had to
Yes,
drop off the last part of the name and change it from Panilla to Pine.
that's right. You're
Okay, so
so
it's
right.
everybody that steps foot, whether you come by choice or not by choice, that it seems that you have to emulate to those folks. We got beautiful Asians coming here from other countries. They're now, changing their eyelids to be able to, they're changing their nose. It seems like everybody that comes here, like I said, by choice or not by choice, it seems like you're actually forced in order to survive. Then to change yourself. Who actually ever came here could actually be themselves. And you think anybody? No, I
I
really.
don't know.
So it's
So
not just us. It's
you got those
everybody. It seems to me,
you got
except
those you got the foreigners up there in the Appalachians.
The
excuse me,
farm
Joel.
in Appalachia.
Joel.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna keep it moving.
All right. Yes. What Venita said. Chapter 12. Can I get somebody to read the summary, please?
Let Joel read it since he's talking tonight.
Ah, good idea.
Okay. Miss Walker begins this speech to the Midwives Alliance in North America with a quote from the author Richard White. The great danger in the world today is that the very feeling and conception of of what is a human being might well be lost. Briefly, she describes the premise of the novel, The Third Life, of Grange Copeland as an exploration of a horrific condition of American apartheid in the southern United States. And that the ringing cry of our time and her book is a simple question. We own our own souls, don't we? Breaking the global pattern of physical and spiritual suffering requires us to do something radically different, something traditional and pre-patriarchal. Change the world one little baby at a time. Welcome this new soul and protect this from the dogs of war with all our heart, minds, and strength. This is a part of the reclaiming of a proper relationship with the world. The other is to listen to the grandmother spirit of earth, which is essentially the power of love. Practice actively, grow your soul, and change the world.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, that's one of those metaphysical things that, my lizard brain can't wrap around that much, but,
That's okay. We're working on you. We're going to work on you.
yeah.
Randie, can you read C for me, please?
Okay, I welcome you here. Some
Yeah.
Bonfu Some. Hello? Somebody say something?
No.
No, go
Oh,
ahead.
Mbonfu
So,
Some, author, teacher, and activist of the Dagara people of Burkina Faso, shares why this ancient African practice of welcoming a life properly into the world is so important. If they are not welcome, all their lives they experience a feeling of not quite having arrived. Alice Walker recalls that her own birth was not ideal. Her mother fainted and her grandmother was busy on the other side of the room with the midwife chatting away, oblivious to her arrival. Question 7. Alice Walker seems to infer that with all her successes, she still feels as if she hasn't quite arrived. What is your birth story? And do you think it has affected your life and how you stand in the world today? That's a great question. Very eloquent question. Is this Georgette's night?
Yeah, this is me.
That's why. It's very eloquent.
Oh, thank you, Randie.
Yeah, well, while we're having a Georgette love moment, I just,
I feel mess.
I think the way you summarized that last piece, um, about welcoming, welcoming not the piece Randie just read, the piece that Joel read, um, was just so perfect. I mean, I think, you know, Benita and I talk about it all the time. She really does go around in a lot of circles in her writing, and I think you have to really be on it to grasp um, how she pulls it all together. And so I just think you really did that beautifully in that last piece, Georgette.
Oh, thank you. That's not going to happen all the time now. I'm just warning you.
Yeah.
Well, can I take a go at the question?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. Okay. My birth story. I know I was born when nobody was there because everybody had to get something to eat or something because I kept playing games and wouldn't come. And then I finally came. My grandmother gave me permission to come. My mom is born the day after her grandmother, and I'm born the day. My mom was born the day before her grandmother, and I'm born the day before my grandmother. So she finally gave me permission to come, and I came. And other than that, how I think has affected my life. I was named after my dad because he said he wanted somebody to do it better than he did. So that's why he named his firstborn after him. But other than that, how has it affected your life? It's always really bothered me that I don't know the language I could be speaking right now had my family not been enslaved. And so that's probably why I'm so anal about language. I majored in English, and why I'm very anal about memory. I'm always worried I'm going to forget something, so I write everything down because I'm so afraid it'll be taken from me again. And so that's affected how I am today. I'm very big on knowledge, reading, research. Like when Michelle shared that post about the condom, I like looked it up to make sure it was like a real thing because I really. So I'm really anal about that. So maybe that has a lot to do with my birth story and my family story.
And was it a real thing?
It was. It was real. I got a
Okay.
lot of text messages and messages like, "Is this real?" And I was like, "Yep." I looked it up. It's real.
All right. That was an interesting story. Thank you, Randy.
Thank you.
Yeah. I don't know my birth story really. My mother did the whole all the drugs. You know, she was knocked out. Um, my father, you know, this was not the generation when men came into the delivery room, so um, I'm not even sure where he was. Knowing him, he was probably out of town. No, no, he was probably in the waiting room. But I don't know the story, so it's, you know, I guess how that affects me. You know, I've moved an incredible number of times in my life, and I don't really have a sense of belonging anywhere. Um, but maybe it kind of started with this birth. It's just the first thing that I don't know about me. Um, so I don't know.
All right.
No, I just think Alice Walker had too much time on her hands because the woman is worth $300 million, so she ain't missed too much.
We are not on that question. You want to share how you came into the world?
uh, I have to say it. I'm a poor black man from Hamlet, North Carolina, and whenever I came into the world, it was one big house with about 15 people in an outhouse. So that's it. And I don't think I missed too much. And what I did miss, it don't really matter.
Okay. Thank you.
That's just the lizard. That's the lizard part talking.
Okay, we love Venita too. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Venita, do you have a birth story?
Um, Not actually. I do know, however, that I don't believe I was conceived out of love, um, which is why I believe that it means so much to me today. That much I am actually very sure of. Lust, maybe. Ignorance. Carelessness. Could have been a host of things, but it definitely wasn't love. Escape from a situation. I'm speaking of my mother. My father, which they did get married, mind you. Opportunist. But it definitely was not a love. Because I'm not sure either one of them know what that is. Which is why I believe that it's very important to me today. Extremely important to me today. So yes, it has affected my life in a very positive way.
Okay.
I'm good with it.
And that's important. It really is. Thank you, Venita. Well, my birth story is kind of crazy. My mom had me when about 10 years after she'd had my brother and sister, so I was like the oops baby.
Ooh.
And at the hospital, they tell me they still talk about it, the nurses and things. After I was delivered, I didn't look like her, so they took me and put me with some other lady. And my mother got up when she the anesthesia or whatever they gave her wore off, and in her usual fashion, turned hospital out in search of me. And she went and got me, and she said, "This is my baby. I don't know what you're trying to blink to blank, 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 and a bunch of expletives." And they were happy to give me back to her and get her out of the hospital as fast as possible.
What?
That makes you wonder when you hear stories like this, how many, babies might not really belong to the parents who they were sent home with, because somebody thought they were going to be playing God up in the delivery room,
Right, right,
So,
right.
and well, I have to say that sometimes I wondered, as life went on, did they really mix me up? I wanted to give her back sometimes, but no. Every day I look in the mirror, I see her looking back at me, and then just some little mannerisms. My family said, "Oh, you acting just like grandma, but don't pick up a knife." I'm like, "Okay, it's gonna get on my nerves, and I won't have to." But
Oh,
I think I'm trying to think of how it affected me. I'm not quite sure, because even though we had a lot of turmoil, we had several periods of homelessness and other things, because my mom had a terrible temper and she loved to act it out no matter what the consequences were. We had a lot of love, and that was, just the foundation of everything. No matter what was going on, we knew that we had to have each other, and there was always that strong bond. It's us against the world type thing. So I try to foster that in my sons, and I want them to, do the same thing when they have families. Well, one does have family, just had a small child, and I just want that to continue, because without that, I think we'll continue. We'll just fall prey to all the forces that are trying to destroy. So I thank everyone for sharing your stories.
Yeah, I used to wonder where my mother came from too. I think she wondered the same thing about me. even though I sound just like her. So,
Mm-hmm. I
um,
say it with love.
All
Can
right.
I say one thing?
but
Doing
but
that, I
but I,
love Mrs. Odom. I aspire to be like that woman. She is also always so eloquent and beautiful. And
yeah.
I've talked to Michelle about this many times, and she knows how I feel about Loga. Loga was to me like something out of Hollywood, and Michelle does sound like her, but she was the only person I know that would have on a beautiful negligee at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, sitting at the piano, playing the piano so beautifully with a glass of wine, a cigarette, and a holder. And I used to walk there, and girl, she was Hollywood, and she had that raspy voice. And oh, I'm sorry, Michelle, I'm getting lost in the girl. I just love
Yeah, yeah,
Loga Odom.
you would have been a great daughter for her.
You know I loved her.
she,
I loved her.
she and I were like so opposite. Of course, I have become like her um, in many ways, but growing up, I couldn't see it. But no, I just wanted to say really that concept of welcoming children into the world, I just think that's such a beautiful idea. Um, and I think what we learned from the book that it was a certain African culture that has that tradition. But I can imagine that it if the adults are conscious enough at the time of a child's birth to go through some kind of process or ceremony around that, that you can see how that could influence the quality of life that child has. So I love the concept.
Mm. Yes, indeed. So do I. Okay. Um, Question 8 for you, those of you who have parents. How did you welcome your child or children into the world?
So we are at 8 o'clock actually.
Okay.
So
You want to
yeah,
move along?
well, let's. What do people want to do?
I do what you want to.
Been gone for since Thursday, and she works and goes to school full time, and I really want to talk to her.
You need to go.
Yeah, well, I don't know what time she's gonna go to bed. She's been gone since Thursday on couples retreat with her boo thing, so I haven't seen her. She didn't come home last night. So,
Okay, okay. All
but
right.
before I leave, I would love to hear everybody's answer to the bonus question because I know I'll miss it if I don't hear it.
Oh, okay.
Hey, I don't want to jump ahead, but I really want to hear everybody's book so I can put it on my list.
Okay.
Let's see. Who is your favorite censored author or book? Um, I guess. I don't. I'm going to just say Alice Walker. I think what would have been great was if we had a list, because it's hard to. I didn't realize that so many of her books um, had been censored, and I thought it was really interesting that our reading of chapter 11 occurred during Banned Books Week. I had never heard of Banned Books Week. um, but but now I have. So yeah, so I think it would be great for somebody to put together a list um, that we could choose from. But Alice Walker is really one of my very favorite writers. Um, I did read The Color Purple way back then. Um, and so, you know, so I'd have to choose her, I guess.
Okay. Venita or Joel?
Maya Angelou is one of my most favorite authors, and I know why the Cage books is a banned book, and it's a very good one. So you might want to put that on your list.
Mm-hmm. Joel, do you have a
No,
band?
sure don't. No, 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 no.
No. Okay.
How about Popular Mechanics magazine or something, Joe? Come on.
Okay. All right. Well, like Michelle, a lot of the books I've read, I didn't even know they were banned. And authors, so many different authors on the list. I was looking at, wow. Like, well, one of my favorites is science fiction. I love science fiction since I was a kid. And Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451, I must have read when I was like 12. And
Mm-hmm.
and it's a banned book. And why? What, the language, or is it the idea it was putting forth? And I think that's the issue with, a lot of the books that are banned, because I went to the link Michelle had posted on the website, and some of the reasons these people gave for banning the books were just ridiculous. Some people hadn't even read the books and they were banning them, and it got,
Yeah,
just
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Fahrenheit one is about banned books, isn't it? Aren't they burning books in that book?
yes.
That's
Hmm.
really ironic.
Mm-hmm.
Great book.
And we better watch it before they go back. They
What
try to do something like that.
What was your favorite, Randy?
My favorite is I love Toni Morrison. But my favorite band book of hers is Beloved. It is so beautifully written, and I really love that book. I really do. I really do.
It is good.
You know, that book scared me.
Why? Why did it scare you?
Oh, I don't know. It just scared me.
I loved it. I had to write. I wrote thesis on it.
So evil.
Yeah.
So the movie also, I read the book and saw the movie. I saw the movie twice. Maybe I was, it's on my trip. But it felt evil. It was a very evil feeling that came over me, and I don't like it. It really freaked me. It's not me. I'm sorry.
Oh, I said, who's that?
We've got all kind of editing to do tonight.
Sorry.
We had a little musical interlude, little Al Green. That's all right. That's all right.
How are you? What's up? How you doing?
Thank you, everyone. I love you all. Kiss on my mama. I haven't seen her.
Oh,
Venita.
We love you
Hey,
too, Randy.
later, Randy.
So glad you were here tonight for this brief time.
Good night. Good
I'll see
night.
y'all next week.
All
Okay.
right.
All
Good
right.
night.
Bye.
Okay.
All right. Well, okay. Good. Need it back. All right. Well, we'll move on to. Oh, I think we lost Venita too.
Oh. Uh. She'll probably try to come back on.
Okay. I hope so.
Yeah.
All right. Well, in the interest of time, While we wait to see what happens, I'll go ahead and read B. They are eating us. Arrogant Western males discussing their military prowess, delighting in their own clean-handed destructiveness. Sound familiar? From one war to the next, we are assaulted by propaganda pieces in support of bombing brown people somewhere on the earth. Alice Walker describes the imbalance and grief she experienced over the thought of frightened people trying to flee our government's bombs. Instead of accepting the sanctioned image of Saddam Hussein as the bad guy we need to hate, she imagines Sadie Hussein, the 3-year-old girl who will starve of malnutrition, die of cholera, infection, or diarrhea along with 900,000 more Iraqi children. She grieves because it is her taxes paying for Sadie's suffering and death. War is a weapon of persons without personal power, the power to reason, the power to persuade, from a position of morality and integrity, and that to go to war with any enemy who is weaker than you is to admit you possess no resources within yourself to bring to bear on your own fate. The people of North America are losing their souls, feeding our dogs of war. We own these dogs, and they have the whole earth between their cheeks. And question number 9 is, recently, President Obama addressed the United Nations General Assembly in New York City. He spoke of the world coming together at a crossroads between war and peace, between disorder and integration, between fear and hope. Is this an accurate picture of life for most people around the world? Who do you think this speech is really directed towards?
Hmm. Uh, well, kind of reminds you of, you know, it's really towards the American people. Kind of remind you of Rome. I think we read the other day that Romans, they had to have a just war. Every war that they had was just. So that's what we have to do when he speaks. He's coming together and he's talking about, you know, ISIS and whatnot. So he has to rally the people because nobody don't want to be in a situation, no leader wants to be in a situation like there's some imperialistic Western dog. So to justify to the good people of the United States, he has to justify his war, for us, to give us a shield for our own um, morality, I guess.
Hmm.
Man, any feedback over there?
I think that's
Michelle?
quite interesting. Yeah, let's hear what Michelle has to say.
No, I don't know. I didn't hear that speech. Um, so I guess in terms of the question, um, a crossroads between war and peace. I don't know. There's so much war going on around the world. It seems like more than a crossroads. It seems like they're over the line. Um, so I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, and that's very
Mm.
fair because when I heard some of the speech and then I went and I looked at the transcript of it, and I know on one hand, he is the leader of the free world, but there's not a lot of freedom in the free world, and you wonder. I think like what Joel said, this is a a propaganda speech to justify some activity. Because I have to personally say, I really don't believe that there's any justification for us going and having any type of military action in these other countries. And I really feel it keeps coming back down to, well, what do these people have in this area? Because if we really wanted to save people from injustice, we'd be doing that here within our own borders. And I think the president did mention that, in this speech, and I give him credit for throwing Ferguson in there, saying that, okay, our hands aren't clean either, our backyard's not clean, but we're going out here, in Syria to try to give these people some equality. But how you do that by killing, and it's not precision targeting, although I personally believe they can do that. They don't. It's, you're killing a lot of people to make an impact, to send the message to someone. And I'm not at all sure that it's just not, we're just in the habit of doing it. It provides, a generation of finances, for particular industries that this is how they live, this is what they love to do. And so maybe we manufacture a lot of stuff, vis-a-vis the CIA instigating a lot of stuff over here. So I think perhaps, and how I look at the president is that he's a man who wants to do the right thing, but he's not in a position to do it because of the job that he has. It requires him to do, if you want to term that, because that's, no, oh, I don't want to get in trouble here, but
No,
this
well,
is
I
how
agree.
we have, these are the things we've done over and over since this country has begun. And perhaps, if you travel back in time, you'll see it in every, perhaps in every civilization, they're
Hmm.
using war and violence to achieve a particular goal that has nothing to do with the welfare of the people involved. So,
Absolutely.
uh,
Absolutely.
so, and that's me speaking as a veteran. I don't see it. With a son in the war who called me today to say he doesn't know if he's going to Africa or back to the sandbox. And I'm like thinking to myself,
Wow.
wow.
Let him take his chance with Ebola. It's a better chance with Ebola.
Mm.
Ebola bullets. I take chance with Ebola. Yeah.
Yes, I hope so.
11, question 11.
I think we're, well, okay, if you want to go to 11. Question 11 is the mindset of the military industrial complex is go big or go home. An anonymous Air Force officer responded in a recent survey that America should be committed to complete victory, and that war should be done in a very overwhelming and clear fashion. Veterans and active duty members are torn between pragmatism and war fatigue. What are your thoughts?
I say we let them all kill themselves up and stay home. That's what I feel about it. Hey, and the people
Is that war
and
fatigue
and the,
speaking?
yeah, I was in the military a long time, and I spent a lot of time away from home. We are a armed forces made for defense of America, not of anybody else. You know,
Mm.
and we we should use our military sparingly. If we had more politicians that served in the military or had children in the military or we had a draft system, we wouldn't have to worry about going to war every time some king or prince got his head cut off. I believe that we bring our armies home and we work on ourselves. You know, I get tired of you know I get tired you know blue star moms that of mothers with children. They got stars in the window because their children are in a war zone. I get tired of gold star moms and fathers. They're the stars of children that are deceased and died on active duty. You know, America don't see that. They don't understand that. But if you're in the military world, just as we are, you know, you see that, you understand that, you know every time CNN comes on that that could be your child that got blown up, or your dad, or something like that, or you know somebody you know. And we go on, we go to our shopping centers and our malls and going about our business and say, oh, we still over there, we still fighting the war. Half America don't know, don't care. So no, bring the armies home. I don't give a damn what's going on. If ISIS want to come over here, bring it on. We got some boys in the cellars of Georgia that take care of their asses.
Yeah, Americans are armed to the teeth. We're strapped.
Yeah.
Yes. I echo all your sentiments, Joel. And I'm just going to briefly share this. I watched a video yesterday, and I think the country was somewhere in Iraq, Iran, somewhere over there in the Middle East. But they a baby had been buried under rubble, and I'm sure it was from some bomb drop, and who knows if it was from Israel or something. Maybe it was us. I don't know. But you couldn't even see the baby, and the men were digging in a hole that was like maybe 2.5 feet wide, digging, lifting huge boulders off. And the baby survived. They kept digging until they got that child out of there. And as I watched it, I kept thinking, how did they know that the baby? Because there was no sign that a human being was there in that hole.
Wow.
And
Wow.
the baby could have been, he had to be a year, if that. And at first you didn't think he was alive. The baby was covered with dust. And one of the guys bent down and blew in his face and tried to get him breathing. And finally the little guys put his hand up to his face, and he never cried, you know. And you just wonder,
Yeah.
we are not, the people who push these buttons and make these decisions are not there at the point of impact. They don't see or care what happens after they sign that paper and, drop that bomb. That
That's
there are
right.
real human beings dying and being, affected by the residual radiation from, depleted uranium and burnt conditions, all kind of things. It's not
Yeah.
over after you say we're going to war. It's
Right.
not
Right.
over,
Right. Right.
you know.
Right. It was just the beginning.
Yes, yes. Okay, so I see we're at 8:23, so I guess we'll move along here to E. An RX for Healing, the Millionth Circle. Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh reminds us that our enemy is anger, hatred, greed, fanaticism, and discrimination. He observes that compassion and forgiveness are the hallmarks of a mature relationship between people. Traditional healer and poet Clarissa Pinkola Estes reveals that the soul can never be destroyed, but it can certainly leave us and take up residence elsewhere. The retaliation America has been engaged in, according to Alice Walker, is murder. It is intimate and disturbs the natural balance of life. She thinks this balancing is what we fear and why we continue to grieve with violence. She believes the grandmother spirit should be guiding the earth, and only then will humans survive. This spirit of impartiality, equality, equanimity, nurturing, and fierceness, she believes, will help us deliver our children not to the war machine, but to a world where women are supported and loved, listened to, and cared for. Our answer to destruction is not to perpetuate a circle of death created by our children and the children they will kill, but a circle of connection and healing. Supporting each other and helping them find their own voice to live more courageously is the way to grow the soul and change the world. This is the millionth circle. One earth, one people, one love. And then
One
question,
love.
all right. And then question 12 is Alice
One
Walker is a
love.
person of privilege as far as her considerable wealth and fame can overcome lingering sexual and racial discrimination. Her answers for many of our problems seem to always return to seeking a connection to spirit, earth, or self, and adopting earth and people-friendly traditional indigenous practices. Do you think she's being realistic? Can we do this? Will it work? Or is she just a person with too much time on her hands?
She's a person with a lot of time on her hand.
Thank you, Joelle. Venita, we're glad you're back.
Hi,
Hey.
that's my son. I had to take a call.
That's okay. Understand.
So, Michelle, what do you think?
Um, yeah. No, I think she has time on her hands, and I think that we should be grateful that she does. Um,
Oh, very good.
when I saw that question, it reminded me, Georgette, you may remember this from the Malcolm X discussion group, and there was, he grew up in, I guess like a country like area. What was it, Omaha or
Yeah, it was one of those Midwestern towns.
yeah. And but I remember this discussion on how perhaps growing up in an area like that is what gave him the sort of space to be able to come into the city with a positive attitude, with ideas about how change could be made. Now, see, we've lost Joelle. Um,
Uh-oh.
but so that anyway, that's what occurred to me about Alice Walker, that because who grew up, I guess, in a similar kind of atmosphere, but because of the privileges her adult wealth has given her, then yeah, she's been able to sit back and do some of the heavy lifting of thinking. We don't have a whole lot of people, it seems to me, in the black community or among humanity that are genuinely thinking about um, how to create a better world. And and she even said in one of the earlier chapters that she has used her privilege to 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 figure out how to solve some of our problems. So yeah, I do. I think she has a lot of time on her hands, but I think that's a good thing.
Yes. Hey, Venita, what do you think?
Are you with us, Venita?
Yeah, I'm reading it because I actually was
Oh,
away.
okay.
The time that you were actually going through it.
Hmm.
I do believe that, of course she has more time on her hands than most folks do because of her wealth and privilege. However, even with other folks not having the wealth or the privilege that she enjoys, which gives her time, as Michelle said, for thinking, I still think people do still have time. It's a personal thing. It's how they want to spend their time. And I believe that there are those that simply don't want to spend their time that way. Unfortunately. But people have time for what they want to have time for.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised at all the time that is wasted doing nothing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's not all just about her privilege. It's not all about just her sitting around idle, twiddling her thumbs. No, a lot of us have time. But I've also heard from some folks, what can I do? Any excuse but to do something.
Mm-hmm.
Small thing, anything. I spoke to my sons about that all the time and tell them how privileged they are. And it wasn't for me praying on it either. It was because people worked hard and made sacrifices and try not to repeat the same generational mistakes that have been made that I have experienced. And with those privileges, you have an obligation, and I really do feel it is an obligation to give back. It's called paying it forward. So I've seen people sit around and say that they're working 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 hours a week, and I say to those people, during the civil rights movement, during the height of that time, before, in the middle, around, and after, people were working harder than ever. They didn't even have Samson washer and dryer. They didn't have Huggies diapers. They didn't have even a side-by-side, technologically fabulous refrigerators. No, they had an ice box. They was hand washing clothes. They had the cloth diapers. They would change them, washing them, flipping them, doing what they had to do, all these other kind of things. But yet they found the time to still go to that church in the basement. They still found the time to go around and put up flyers. They found the time to risk their lives so that we can have the privilege that we have tonight to sit here on Hangouts and discuss these things. So no, I think it's how people choose to spend their time. And if one more person tells me I don't have time, I don't know what I'm going to do. Because I really believe it's not about that at all. Everyone's complacent. The elites have convinced us that we can't do anything about anything. Things are so far out of hand that, So there's things that we can do. Just things we can do. And thank goodness that Alice Walker has the time that she has so that she can bring some of these issues that a lot of folks in denial about to the forefront. Teaches about meditation and how to deal with all the crazy every day, because crazy is really real. As I was telling you can't react to most things, because if you do, you be crazy yourself. You all day long you be reacting to something. So I'm a little long-winded like Michelle sometimes, but
well, I think I forgot to set the timer, but I think you're out of it.
No, I mean,
Okay.
some questions are valid and take more time to answer because they're so complicated. But I do believe that people make too many excuses, and every time I sit back and I think about the people before me and all the stuff they had to go through, and they were up 24 hours a day. And what do you mean you don't have time? They didn't have one child like Michelle or two like me. You weren't even considered a parent back then. They had 6, 7, 8, 12 of them. No, I'm serious.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
You got 2 children, you still have 1 child. You have back then it was barren or something. What's your problem, girl? You can only bring out 2 children. You see what I'm saying? But they still managed to have the time.
Yes. Yes.
And love doesn't take a lot of time either. That's another thing. Black folks, and maybe when we are live, but I do find that once again, this is so many excuses. This is so many excuses. You know, we've excused ourselves right to the bottom of the food chain, which is practically has undone everything those folks that had a much tougher time than we have had time for. So I'm done with that, Georgette. You know. Yeah.
Okay, well, that was a powerful response, as usual. Thank you, Venita. Yeah, I have to agree with both of you. Make time for the things that are important, and if you've got the time and the resources, you, as a citizen of the world, it's your responsibility to do good with it. You know, you should. You should. And I really admire those people who do have the time and resources to do that. I wish it was me. I do some good too.
Me
But I do what
too.
I can where I am.
You're
That's
doing
it.
good now, Georgette. You're doing good right now. By being here and us discussing these things, and hopefully folks that are listening to us are getting a lot of our conversations. They're learning new things, like we've learned new things reading Alice Walker's book, and they're learning, and we're passing information on to them. So yes, you're doing something right now with your time. And I'm sure that folks out there would agree.
Absolutely. Wow.
So,
Okay.
Well, that's it.
that's it.
We
That's
have
it.
gone through these 2 chapters. We've read our story together, and we've had a great time. How about you? I had a great time.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Indeed.
Oh,
And Joel left us.
Yeah, he just dropped out. Oh,
Bye.
he was in a strange mood tonight.
It must be a full moon, and I knew it was a full moon last night.
it is. Yeah, we're having an eclipse tonight, a
So that's
lunar
right.
eclipse.
So I knew there was a reason. And Michelle will edit this part out, of course. But my Joe, I'm like, well, what's going on, Joe? He just wanted, the only thing he wanted to do is wait to say she got a lot of time on her hands. She's been trying to say that since he got here. She got a lot of time on her hands. Hold up, folks, she not here yet. But she do have a lot of time on her hands. She has fulfilled all that stuff inside of him. It was
He was out.
Oh my goodness.
No, he makes me smile, and I know he's listening to me. He needs to be listening, but I just love Joe. Joe made me smile tonight. He said, I'm trying to say that since we started. He had too much time.
Oh man.
And my baby Randy's born now, and I love Randy's comment. You gotta let people be mad.
Yeah, wasn't that beautiful? So very insightful. Let them be mad. Make sure they don't have any weapons. If they do, you be in the other room.
That's what I'm saying. And that's what I talk all the time. There's nothing wrong with that. Just don't go crazy on me. I'm here for you. I'll relax. I'll sit back. I'll listen. But just don't start going around killing everybody and doing crazy stuff.
That's right.
All right. Let me stop the broadcast and thank everybody for joining us tonight. You guys can hang around for a minute, but let me just stop the broadcast.
Okay.
Right.